Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my first ETS2 storytelling episode where I will share with you a little story called The Forgotten Cargo.
If you will enjoy the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe with the bell on so you don't miss any future videos. So let's get started.
It was one of those mornings where the world felt like it was waking up slower than usual. The fog hung low over the highway, curling around the streetlights like a lazy ghost. I'd spent the night parked in a rest area just outside Rotterdam, nestled in the warmth of my Scania R450. I'd grown attached to that truck. It wasn't just a machine, it was my livelihood, my sanctuary on the road.
That morning, as I brewed a quick coffee in the cab and glanced at the GPS, everything seemed routine. The destination, Hamburg. The cargo, electronics. I remember thinking how strange it was that a shipment of electronics would be marked urgent, especially so close to the holidays when these types of jobs were usually a dime a dozen. But when the dispatcher offered me almost double my normal rate, I didn't argue. Times were tough, and the open road didn't always come with open wallets.
By 7 a.m., I was rolling. The truck's engine purred like a contented cat, and the rhythmic hum of the tires on asphalt was almost soothing. The fog ahead seemed endless, but I didn't mind. This stretch of highway felt like home to me. I'd driven it more times than I could count, but this trip was different, though I couldn't quite put my finger on why.
The first hour passed without incident. I tuned the radio to my favorite station, some easy rock to keep me company. The news droned on about rising fuel prices and holiday traffic, but I barely listened. My mind wandered to the cargo I was hauling. The trailer seals were unusually tight, the kind you'd use for high-value goods or fragile shipments. Normally, I'd let curiosity slide, but something about this job gnawed at me. The client, a logistics company I'd never heard of, had been vague at best. Deliver straight to Hamburg, they'd said. No detours, no delays.
Simple enough, right? Yet, as I crossed the border into Germany, a sense of unease began to creep in, like the fog I'd left behind.
I tried to shake it off. I focused on the road, the gentle curves of the Autobahn, and the occasional burst of sunlight breaking through the clouds. But no matter how hard I tried, my thoughts kept circling back to the trailer. What was I really hauling? Electronics were common, sure, but why the secrecy? Why the rush?
Around mid-morning, I stopped at a service station to refuel. The place was quiet, just a few cars and a couple of trucks parked in the lot. As I stepped out to stretch my legs, I noticed a man standing near the entrance to the convenience store. He was dressed sharply black coat, sunglasses, the kind of look that screamed trouble. He seemed out of place, like he didn't belong in the middle of nowhere.
I tried not to stare, but as I walked past, he turned to me. "You're carrying something important," he said, his voice low, almost a whisper. "Watch yourself."
Before I could respond, he walked away, disappearing into the store. I stood there for a moment, my heart pounding. Important? What could he possibly mean? I glanced back at my truck, the trailer looming silently behind it, and felt a cold knot form in my stomach.
I didn't linger. I climbed back into the cab, my eyes scanning the parking lot as I pulled back onto the road. The man's words echoed in my mind, but I told myself he was probably just a crank, someone looking to spook a random driver. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched.
The road stretched on, a ribbon of gray cutting through golden fields and clusters of leafless trees. Traffic was light, just the occasional car or truck passing by. Yet one vehicle seemed to stick with me. A white van that hovered in my mirrors like an unwelcome shadow. At first I thought it was a coincidence. Plenty of vehicles shared the road, and we were all heading in the same direction. But as the miles ticked by, the van stayed close, never passing, never falling too far behind.
By midday, my nerves were shot. The van had been tailing me for over an hour, and my gut screamed that it wasn't just random. I slowed down slightly, hoping it would pass, but it didn't. Instead, it lingered, as if waiting for something. My hands tightened on the wheel, my mind racing with possibilities. Was this about the cargo? Was I in danger?
I decided to test a theory. At the next rest stop, I signaled and pulled in. The van hesitated, but followed. That's when I knew something was wrong. I parked near the far edge of the lot, away from the other vehicles, and stepped out. The van parked a few spaces away, its engine still running.
I pretended to check my tires, walking slowly around the truck, my eyes flicking toward the van every chance I got. The windows were tinted, and I couldn't see inside, but I could feel their gaze. Whoever was in there, they were watching me.
Just as I was about to head back to the cab, my phone buzzed in my pocket. A text message from an unknown number. "Don't stop, keep going."
My heart skipped a beat. I looked around, half expecting someone to step out of the shadows, but the lot was empty. The van hadn't moved. My pulse thundered in my ears as I climbed back into the cab and started the engine. Whoever had sent that message knew exactly where I was, and that thought chilled me to the bone.
I merged back onto the highway, the van falling in behind me again. But after a few minutes, it suddenly veered off at an exit, disappearing from sight. Relief flooded through me, but it didn't last. My nerves were frayed, my mind racing with questions. What was I carrying, and why was it so important?
By the time I reached Hamburg, the sun was beginning to set, casting long shadows across the depot. The place was heavily guarded, more than any delivery point I'd ever seen. 2 men in suits inspected the trailer's seal before allowing me to unload. Their demeanor was cold, professional, and gave nothing away.
As I handed over the paperwork, I couldn't resist asking, what's in there anyway?
The man at the desk barely looked up. "Just electronics," he said, his tone clipped. But his eye was told a different story. As I walked back to my truck, I saw him pick up a phone, speaking in hushed tones.
I didn't wait around to find out more. The job was done, the payment already in my account. But as I drove out of the depot and back onto the open road, a strange feeling lingered. Whatever I'd been part of, it was bigger than me. Bigger than anything I wanted to understand.
And maybe that was for the best.
Thanks for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. And if that's so, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe with the bell on so you don't miss any future videos.
Also, consider to become a member of this channel. Join now to get access to perks and all the benefits that Level provides. Thank you and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.